https://discord.gg/flat-earth. Welcome to 24/7 Flat Earth Discord channel. Be sure to go to P3ch3ng to get your VC verification tags to get involved in the conversation about our Earth. Be sure to bring your verifiable Earth curvature evidence, though.
Enemy spotted.
P3ch3ng.
I didn't really have a question to ask. It sounded like it was just a disagreement over, like...
No.
how
I
to
mean
measure
on a
something.
new topic. Anything that you're thinking about, question about Earth. How does this happen? What about this?
Well, I mean, flat Earth
Well,
really, to me, flat Earth really doesn't make sense in that, like,
okay, good. Think
a
about
lot of
that.
our
Ask
system,
what doesn't make sense.
a lot of our systems depend, like, that we use as a modern society, depend on the math regarding the Earth being round for it to work.
Okay.
Right? Like, artillery would not function at all the way it does without the math being...
Okay, real world application, you think, globe application. Okay, you're up, boys. Someone take it.
For artillery, I mean, you have a horizontal that you put those calculations to, don't you?
Fire direction control Marines have, like, there's like a whole fucking process they have to go through to zero in on our target. And one of the calculations that they have to adjust for is the Coriolis effect, as well as which hemisphere they're in.
Incorrect.
Hold on. Sorry.
This is
If we
100.
sorry.
This is in the artillery manual.
I get it. So you're going to say that when, the military fire artillery off at somewhere, they have to account for the effect that the Earth is rotating underneath the object, yes?
And which part of the Earth they're rotating on.
Incorrect.
Hold on, please, correct.
Okay.
So being as you're going to declare that the Earth is moving underneath artillery shells, why don't we observe an apparent deflection with everything else that is above the surface of the Earth?
We do the same thing for helicopters.
Really? And we do the same thing
for...
for...
the same thing for Harriers, helicopters. If we're trying to be precise with what we're doing, it's pretty much... And it's moving at such a certain speed, it's always going to be adjusting for the rotation of the Earth.
Awesome. So as I stand on the Earth's surface and rotate underneath these objects, I will observe an apparent deflection, yes?
You're not moving at the... It's not the same. I don't think that's the same as like an artillery shell moving at a certain speed.
Okay, but we understand that as the artillery shell leaves the surface of the Earth is moving underneath the artillery shell, yeah?
Yes.
So as I stand on that surface that is rotating underneath the artillery shell, I should observe an apparent deflection.
Yes, the Coriolis effect itself was proven using artillery.
But I don't observe that apparent deflection when observing clouds, airplanes, helicopters, balloons, bumblebees, anything else that has left the surface of the Earth. Standing on the surface of the Earth, do not observe an apparent deflection.
I don't know what to tell you, man. The precision of these weapons would be wildly off if they were... Like, they're literally having to move the fucking gun in a different direction from which the target actually is to hit the target, because it's having to adjust. If that was wrong, they would be not even close to where the target, like their intended target is, and collateral would be going through the fucking roof. It doesn't make sense.
Are you in the military? Have you used
Yes.
No, he's not.
I am in the military.
No.
What? Yes.
No. Okay. What's the 5 effective factors for artillery fire?
So I'm not artillery. That's what I just work with artillery. I see the fire direction control Marines. They do have to adjust for this.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they absolutely do.
The math to adjust for it is like 17 centimeters at maximum effective range. The kill radius is 50 meters.
Okay.
So yeah, you don't adjust. If you want effective fire right fucking now, you're not breaking out your math to adjust for an extra 17 centimeters.
It depends on the system.
No, it doesn't.
It absolutely does.
You need target location, firing location, square weight, prop temp, meteorology, and the type of round you're firing. That's it. That stems lead down range. Those 5 things. That's all you need.
Oh, that's the funny part is in me talk. It also depends on the Earth rotating.
No.
Like all that is science based on the Earth rotating.
What I mean by meteorology is how the air pressure, how much pressure, how much atmosphere,
which is contingent on the winds rotating around the Earth.
No.
On top of that, they're having to get in contact with it. On top of that, they're having to get in contact with imagery guys who are using satellites to do battle damage estimates, and that's using satellites in space. Like none of this shit functions without the Earth being a globe.
Incorrect.
What you're telling me that the military does not do battle damage assessments after fucking what? Like what? That's using satellites.
The first rifled artillery was used in the Civil War. They did not account for any curve or rotation of the Earth. They didn't use satellites to track the battle damage.
And those artillery were wildly off target. And then
you could see them buried in the target that was hit with rifled artillery. You could go there.
Okay, cool. And then they realized that they weren't hitting precise enough, and then scientists...
You could still go to that fort was preserved. It was like preserved as the first time rifled artillery was ever used, and you can see the projectiles embedded into the fort's walls. They surrendered the fort that they was targeted by Union artillery. They surrendered without ever returning a shot. They couldn't do it. They couldn't fire back because the rifling made the range more effective.
But then they also realized that they could be more effective if they adjusted for the Coriolis effect. The Coriolis effect, which was proven using artillery. Right, like this is in the artillery manual.
No, it's all it's in.
HIMARS themselves are like having to calculate where they are on the Earth before they fire.
No, all that's in is in the forward. The forward, there's a little blurb, but when you open up the FM, and it says here, hey, firing artillery is a very complex thing. You have to take into account all these considerations. And then when you go through the tables, it's not listed in there at all.
It's I could pull up the manual right now. There's like whole sections dedicated to the math and regarding the Coriolis effect.
Incorrect.
Here, I'll just post the fucking manual.
Yo, how about just do it? Just plot all the firing, plot all the firing solution.
No, I don't have access.
You show where you accounted for the curve of the Earth and rotation.
Yeah.
Fort Pulaski, April 11th, 1862. After a 30-hour bombardment, Confederate troops inside Fort Pulaski surrendered without firing a single shot. The rifled cannon artillery rendered the fort's defenses completely obsolete.
Okay, so like, what does that have to do
that
with
right there
accuracy?
Debunks you, because you said as your only proof of globetard that rifled artillery or long-range artillery only works if you count for curve and rotation and you use satellite imagery.
Yes.
The accuracy doesn't matter.
The accuracy absolutely matters.
Artillery shell is plus or minus 50 meters. Plus or minus 50 meters.
Okay, and so now we're using Cool. So now we're using M777s, where if you're plus or five, that you're just taking out fucking civilians. That's collateral damage if you're not accurate with that, right? Like HIMARS, which are flying fucking hundreds of kilometers away, they automatically adjust for that in the calculations because they're having to hit precise targets with that. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, you really have no idea what you're talking about. This is like the Dunning-Kruger effect. You think you're an expert and you don't even know what the 5 factors, the first 5 factors.
I'm not an artillery marine, but I understand that they do have to use the Coriolis effect.
Okay, what 5 factors do you need? You got to call it right now.
I'm not an artillery marine. I'm not an artillery
marine. You're pinned down. Terrorists at the front gate. How do you call in artillery? What would you use?
Again, this is not my field. About?
You're the only person right now. You're the man at the radio. You're on radio watch. They tell you insurgents are knocking down the gate. We need artillery right now. What do you say over the radio?
So you have to.
Hello. We need this artillery right now. Come on, every second counts. The longer you're waiting, okay. What information do you have to radio in?
That you're not getting M777 fire on that. That's going to be mortars.
Hey, I'm over
what
here.
are you talking
I'm headquarters.
about?
P3ch3? What information? I want to send artillery your way. What information? Give me the information I need.
That's a grid, I guess. First of all.
Okay, you grid. What's your grid?
I don't know. Fucking.
Just spit it out. It doesn't matter what it is.
Do you like it? That's going to be like a fucking 12-digit grid. I don't know.
You don't even know grid, dude. This is
it's a 12-digit grid. What are you talking about?
Someone's got to clip this. This dude thinks there's a 12-digit grid coordinates. Dude, you would not pass basic. You would not pass basic training.
12-digit grid.
Well, Crit, what I'd like to know, Crit, is he's sitting here telling us exactly what they have to do to account for Coriolis, but then when you try to go further, he says he's not an expert and he can't tell you. So how can you sit here and say 100% that yes,
because I work with them, but I'm not an expert.
Dude, you can't even read the map.
What are you talking about? That would be a 12-digit grid. They need.
What's a 12-digit grid? No,
that's
10-digit grid. Even
it goes.
Really only
you would
8.
Not at 8. That's a whole fucking grid zone. What are you talking about?
No, like that would yeah. So you have a whole grid zone, and you know where you're at.
That's like fucking 8-digit, dude. I'm in an 8-digit. What are you talking about? That like. If you're they're at the gate. That's danger close. That's a 12-digit grid. You're not firing anything below that.
So what's a 12-digit grid?
That's 12-digit grids is for targeting. You fucking retard.
Yeah, you don't even know what it is, do you? What is a 12-digit grid?
12. I don't know. That's like the MGRS. That's an MGRS. What are you talking about? 12 digits. That's a location on the Earth. What do you want from that?
Yeah, because I know about 10-digit grids.
It goes past 10, you retard.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Down. So a 10-digit grid is 1 meter. A 12-digit grid would be what? 1 centimeter?
That's like within fucking feet, dude.
Yeah, that's a 10-digit grid is within feet.
No, 12-digit grid goes even further than that. I don't know. Like I don't know what you're talking. That's like it's a
know how to read maps.
12 digits is 12-digit grid is targeting period. You're not using anything less than that. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you don't even know how to read a map.
You're cool. That's 12 digits. Is it targeting? You're not using 10 digits for targeting. That's the no commander is going to go with that. What? you give a commander an 8-digit grid and tell him to fire. He's going to look at you like a retard.
Yeah, cool. 8 digits within 10 meters.
Okay, cool. They're going to want a 12-digit.
No, 8 would be okay.
No, it's not. It's really not. Yeah, it's really not.
And there's no such thing as a 12-digit.
There's a 12-digit grid. What are you talking about?
No, there's no such thing as a 12-digit.
There's 12-digit.
No, there's 4, 6, 8, and 10.
It goes to 12.
1 kilometer, 100 meters, 10 meters, and then 1 meter.
And then 12-digit.
Which would be what? 1 centimeter?
That's like laser guided shit, man. I don't know what to tell you.
You're bricked. Okay, you disqualified.
That's a 12-digit grid. You
don't even know how to read a map.
It's a 12-digit grid. You're not using anything less than that.
See, a bunch of stolen valor people coming in here like, he knows all about artillery. You can't even read a map.
It's 12-digit grid, dude. Like you're not for targeting.
Keep saying there's a 12-digit grid. There's not.
There's a 12-digit grid
on a curved surface.
Yeah. What a fucking retard.
Yeah, you're bricked, dude. You couldn't even pass basic training. You're supposed to come in here like you're swinging some big dick. Like you got all this knowledge about
They're
artillery.
literally not using. They're literally having to adjust for the Coriolis effect. I don't know what to tell you.
Like, yeah, you don't even know them.
It's the HIMAR itself. All that shit's baked into its coding. It won't even fire if it doesn't know where it is on the Earth. HIMAR is not firing if it doesn't know where it is on the Earth.
All this coding.
It fucking has to know where it is on the Earth before it fires. It literally, if it doesn't know where it's at, it's not going to fire. And that's one of the main problems with it when it has no idea where it's at. It's just a giant fucking target. It can't do anything.
Yeah, you don't know this stuff at all. You're bricked, dude. You came in here thinking like everyone here is not gonna know what you're talking about.
You're mad because your fucking like little flat Earth website can't adjust for it. Like it doesn't have an answer for this. Dude. You can't fucking. What a retard.
Yeah, you're stolen valor.
You're your weird like little fucking website doesn't have an answer for this. You can't like quickly Google it.
Yeah, I told you 2 examples. They used rifled artillery, not accounting for curve or rotation.
Okay,
I told you the 5 effective fires, the 5 effective factors they need for effective artillery.
Yes, you can fire any fucking gun in a direction. You don't need it, but it's not going to be accurate. And I was talking about how we use it today.
Accurate within 50 meters.
Cool. If you're not, we're using lasers now, dude.
With all that
we're using
technology,
lasers now.
Even with all that information, they don't fire for effect right away. They fire 1 round. Okay, where did that round land? Okay, sure. Battery adjust.
You're
5
not
meters.
Firing
fire
for effect
again.
With, you are
battery
not firing.
Adjust.
You are not firing for effect with a HIMAR. You're not firing for effect with a HIMAR.
Adjust. You are up 5 meters.
You're not firing for effect with a HIMAR.
Tell me more about this laser targeting system.
With the HIMARS?
With any laser targeting system. Tell me about it.
The guy wouldn't know if it had a sign. If there was a sign on it that said, "Hey, this is a laser guided weapon."
For HIMARS, it requires like a forward observer with a laser pointed at. However, you can use like imagery from satellites to do that as well. That's the point of the 12-digit grid.
Okay, 12 digits. Sorry, yes. What's the distance of the laser targeting system?
The distance?
Yeah, how far between laser and target?
It depends on what you're using. Like if it's a forward observer, that's like, I mean, you point that as far as you can see. If it's coming from a satellite, that's depends on where the satellite is above the Earth.
I'm interested in not the satellite. I'm interested in the forward observer on the ground. The lasers on the ground.
As far as they can see, usually the horizon. I don't know. It's fucking the mountain in front of them.
Okay, so it's interesting because I know a little bit about laser targeting systems from Navy vessels at sea. Yes. Direct line of sight targeting systems up to a distance. I've been quoted 93 miles. Now, obviously, you understand, as you pointed out, this is a direct line of sight, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Awesome. So, being as we have vessels at sea capable of targeting land-based targets, on the coastline and stuff, at a distance of 93 miles, using a laser, which is a direct line of sight targeting system, after we observe the target with an infrared camera, we also get a ping off of the target using radar. You understand that all 3 of these particular pieces of technology require a direct line of sight. A direct line of sight would not be achievable if the surface of the Earth was curving. The curvature of the Earth again.
From my time on ships, I understand that they usually have a drone up in the air to increase the sight because there's a certain limit to how far they can see.
What would that limit be?
But again, it depends on the ship. Like if it's like a destroyer, it's probably going to be a few kilometers. I don't know, but whenever I see targeting like that, it's coming from a drone, not the ship itself. Like they launch a drone off the ship, and then that drone is providing all the laser targeting for the ship.
So before drones went up into the sky, drone technology's only been around for the last 15 years or so, right?
Well, before drones, they'd be sending up aircraft. Like aircraft would do the same thing.
But we also understand laser targeting systems are also based upon the vessel themselves, right?
But that's only going to go so far. It usually, at least for like for U.S. naval fleets, that's going to be mainly contingent upon the aircraft they send up. Like a carrier fleet is not going to be relying on its own fucking its own targeting. They're going to be sending up like ships, aircraft for that.
Okay.
Like.
It's interesting that you pointed out right at the beginning of this conversation that all pieces of the technology that we use must infer that the Earth is a ball, right?
Yes, because it does.
Okay, cool. So what happens, for example, what happens when your technology fails? How is your captain going to know his location on the Earth?
That's where you revert. That's where you go into analog, and again, that's part of the manual. It teaches you how to do it by analog. Depending on whatever weapon system that they're using, will definitely have an analog version so that you can do the math yourself.
Okay, so do you know what celestial navigation is?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you base where you're sailing off of, like, the constellations above you. I don't
know. Okay, so do you know what an elevation angle is? You know what a triangle is, right?
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. So celestial navigation works on the premises of a right-angled triangle where we measure elevation angles up to stars at known times of the year, so we know where the fuck we are, right?
Okay.
Awesome stuff. So you understand that I said right angle triangle. You know what a triangle is, don't you? 3 straight lines meeting at 3 vertices where we can measure the interior angles and add them together to reach no more than 180 degrees, yeah?
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. So this technology has been around for over 400 years, started off by the British Navy in 1700 and something or other. You know what a sextant is, right? An angle measuring device?
Yes.
Awesome stuff. Can I ask you a question? Can you measure an angle if one of those lines is curved?
I'm not good with math, so maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
You can estimate, yeah, you can use multiple as a mathematician, I can explain this to you. You can use multiple right triangles to determine the curvature. It's like literally the building block of calculus, especially multivariable calculus.
Yeah, I'm talking about, you said right angle triangle.
Multiple right angle triangles, not just one.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Multiple right angle triangles, that's brilliant. You understand that within celestial navigations, that's on a basis of a 90-degree right angle triangle, yeah?
When you're measuring between 2 points, like if you're assuming that it's a flat Earth, then yeah, you would need one right triangle.
Or being as we can measure multiple angles to multiple stars in the sky, that's multiple right angle triangles, right?
No, what I'm talking about is that because the Earth curves, you need to use multiple right triangles at short distances. Which is why, like, if you use the model that you're talking about at a long distance, trying to answer your question, if you use the model that you're talking about at long distances, then the error compounds on itself, and you end up traveling at the wrong location.
How do you have a 90-degree triangle on a curved surface?
It's relatively flat.
So it's relatively flat. Okay, for example,
but there is error because of the curvature. And so over time, the errors compound on each other. Do you understand that?
You also understand that you can't have a 90-degree angle on a curved surface, right?
You can approximate it. Did you know that you can approximate curves with tangent?
Okay, we're going back to the first guy here.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Real quick, just out of the manual. Fucking artillery compensates for the effects of ballistic wind direction and speed for rotation of the Earth throughout the firing unit's area of responsibility. These corrections are combined with positions, constant, and determined in the concurrent MET by solving a subsequent MET in each 800 millimeter sector, or selected 800 mil sectors. That's the Marine Corps field manual. The Army field manual says rotation of the Earth. Although the rotation of the Earth is a natural phenomenon, it is treated as a non-standard condition for simplicity in the construction of firing tables. The magnitude and direction of projectile displacement from the target owing to rotational effects are functions of azimuth fire, time flight, projectile velocity, and relative position of piece and target with respect to the equator.
Exactly what I told you.
Right, so it has to adjust.
Target location, firing location, square rate, prop temp, net, and round type.
It's okay, so respect to the equator, as in respect to the equator, these effects have been combined in convenient tabular form in firing tables. The firing table has to adjust for it. Like, that's the point of the 12-digit grid, by the way, is so that you have laser accuracy.
There's no 12-digit grid.
There's a 12-digit grid. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I get that you're like some fucking grunt and you don't see anything beyond like fucking your stupid 10-digit grid and you get lost in the woods and shit, but there things go beyond, there's shit that goes beyond 10 digit, way beyond.
Okay, so what is it? Okay, so go through me. A 4-digit grid gives you how close accuracy?
That's like a 4-digit grid, dude. That's like the entire woods. I don't.
Oh, that's like 1 kilometer.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay, so 2 numbers to the south, and then you go 2 numbers to the west.
Cool.
Okay, how you read the protractor, right? You put it on the bottom of the grid square, you slide it over, okay? Read those two numbers, write them down, then slide your protractor up, read those two numbers, write them down. That's 4 digits.
Okay.
That's a full grid square, one grid square.
Cool.
Then if you want to you break it into 6 digits, that would give you plus or minus 100. Because now you broke it into, and then 8 digits is plus or minus 10. Cool. 10 digit would be plus or minus 1 meter. You don't need 1 meter accuracy to fire artillery.
You need, hold up. So I even have it right here. These 12-figure coordinates locate a point on the map to the accuracy of 1 square meter. I guess that's what you want. Using ordinate. This is for using Ordnance Survey and National Grid reference coordinates. So you're a fucking faggot, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I posted. You just walked through it too. A 10-digit grid square gives you 1 meter.
This is for 12. I don't.
Well, 12 also gives you. Where do you get the extra 2 digits
I think 12 goes well beyond 1 meter, though. I don't know.
Like 1 centimeter, right? You divide it by 10 again.
Sure, yeah, and that's how accurate they want it. Yeah.
Fucking bizarre, dude.
There's 12-digit grids, brother. But, like, that's how accurate they want that shit. So.
You got Jedi one more to say here, or what?
Well, I mean, that's pretty much you're like it.
Was the land navigation stuff or sea navigation?
Sea nav? I'm not a sailor. I don't know anything about sea nav.
Are you looking in the chat?
I was not looking in the chat.
Okay, here. How about this? Read off. What's this grid location that it's shown in the picture?
What is where's that picture at? Is it Gyazo?
No, in the Flat Earth chat, the side chat.
Yeah, no, I see it. So is it this yellow square you got going on?
Yeah, yeah. The yellow square would represent what?
Well, I mean that's a grid.
Yeah, so 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer, right?
Well, it depends on what it is.
Yeah, it's 1 kilometer. So you'd
because
have,
like when you zoom in and shit, like the grids adjust. Okay.
So what's his result there?
115. Five. It's like
you start in the southwest corner.
No. I say that's
you start in the southwest corner. You move.
It's like 49, 29. So that's well. Where's the letters, brother?
You'll need the letters.
Like 10.
I already know that what map you're on.
Well, I don't know what map I'm on. Usually it goes like 10.
Okay, just make up the letters in. Tell it's A B B.
10S. Fucking. I get it. Without like the other numbers present, 115. Then it's like 49, and then 813, 29.
Where do you get the 49 from?
Well, I mean it's almost 5. It's not quite on the 5.
Yeah, so they rounded it up, right? So they would have said 115.
I would never round that shit up.
If you only need 6 digits, you only need 6 digits. Okay, you have to get plus or minus.
I mean, it's clear, like I know how. Okay,
you just
cool,
need
dude.
Plus
like
or minus 100. Okay, what's your grid?
Not in my job, brother. But fucking, I already gave the answer, man. It's you got 49 and it's 115, 049, and then fucking
049.
115, 49, and then you got 813.
Okay, 115.
29.
And that's 10 digits.
Okay, cool. But it goes beyond that. I don't know what your fixation. I don't know what your fixation on 10 is.
3 and what does he say? 81329.
I say 29 because I don't round. That's like weird.
Do you think you can fit 2 more digits into that grid square?
You could put way more in there. Yeah.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
12 digits is a real thing. Like if I had access, I'd post it, brother. Like.
So we could just put another 9 at the end, or what? What would you put?
It just.
What would be your 6th digit?
That's how accurate it is. Like, so
okay,
12 digit, it gets really accurate, brother.
Okay, looking at this, what would be your 6th digit?
Fuck, I exited out of it.
So you got 115. We both agree. And I would say if you only need 100-meter accuracy, you'd stop right there. Okay. So now you need closer to the 100-meter accuracy. You need 10-meter accuracy, so you add the 4. Then you need 1-meter accuracy, and you add the 9. So now you need more than 1-meter accuracy. What number do you put after the
9? Well, that'd be going into like the decimals, brother.
Yeah, exactly, right? So it's not even worth using.
No, it absolutely is, brother. Like
okay,
12
by
digits?
your logic, you could say there's 30-digit grid coordinates.
I mean, it can get down to that if they really want that.
Okay, fine.
If they really want that shit, sure, but like that'd be a good.
Okay, I would say technically you're right. No, I would say that 10-digit is where it stops. But if you really want to get into it, there's a billion-digit grid coordinates.
So let me put it this way:
you can pinpoint the top of an ant's head if you want to.
Anything past 10-digit is top secret. That's why you don't hear about it.
Because except for by you, right? Unless are you exposing top secret information?
There's nothing I know that's like known. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, so
this is what I was getting
to. That you made it seem 10? Like 10-digit was somehow like that's dumb. That doesn't get you close enough.
For targeting purposes, they're not going to be using 10 unless they just want to wipe out the whole area.
They'll use 8 for targeting.
They're definitely not relying on 8. For a HIMAR, especially, they're not using fucking 8.
Yeah, you're talking about artillery, rifled artillery. I don't know about this HIMAR thing. I've never heard of it before.
You don't know what a HIMAR is?
Is this like the whole thing with Greek mythology with the HIMAR? No. Send me the rainbow bridge or whatever.
No. HIMARs are that is a rocket that's like an MLRS system.
Okay, so it's propelled by itself. Then they can guide it through the air as it's firing.
Yes, it adjusts as it goes.
So you wouldn't even need the same stuff because once you fire an artillery round, it's going where the land where it's going to land.
No, actually. So
excuse me. Testing 1 2 3. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. I need to interrupt for a moment for some administration purposes. Who's the gentleman you're speaking to, Crit?
P3ch3ng.
Okay. P3ch3ng, can you please not use the F slur? All right, we are under strict instruction by rights. I'm supposed to mute you. I'm going to let you off this once. Okay. Don't use it again, please.
Yeah, I missed it too because he was talking to me, and I generally don't want to mod any debates I'm in. I just kind of like blank it out, Yeah, I should have mentioned it. It did. I remember you saying it. I was like, oh, I should mention that, but I thought, my fault in that. Yeah, we just want to keep it, civil. All right.
Cool. Yeah, HIMARS.
I know we kind of started okay, go ahead.
M777s, they will adjust in air depending on the round they send.
So it's a much different thing than firing unguided projectiles.
It's even more accurate, and that like the system literally will not function unless it knows where it is on the Earth. On top of that, is constantly adjusting as it flies, but the ranges at which it is flying, if it does not adjust, it is hitting the wrong goddamn target.
Yeah, but it will. You just gotta get close enough that it'll guide itself into the target.
These aren't rockets. This isn't like an M777 round where they're trying to take out like the whole grid square. This is like there's a specific motherfucker sitting in a specific position that they want to take out. Like it.
Yeah, they want to drop it right on top of the top part of a tank, like hit the very top.
And you're gonna want a 12-digit grid on that because it's not just tanks. It could be an embedded position for like I don't know, like a command structure or something. But like that, they're gonna want 12 digits on that, and it's gonna be adjusting depending on which side of the Earth it is, what part of the hemisphere. Is going to be adjusting as it flies based on the flow of the air before they even fire it, they're contacting METOC. But METOC's all of METOC shit is contingent upon the Earth being round, and then they're getting with imagery guys, so the imagery guys using satellites in space can provide imagery before and after the strike. None of this shit functions without the Earth being round.
Okay, let's walk through that. Why? Why is that the case?
The commander will never fire. Like, this isn't like some shitty, like, it's not a fucking 115 millimeter mortar, like, artillery round. It's expensive, but not compared to a HIMAR round. That's like tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is a rocket that is expensive. They're going to treat it like it's expensive.
Okay, read this part right here. The military grid reference system. The military grid reference system is a geographic coordinate system that comes from the UTM. Universal, yes, okay. Which is based on a flat world, not a sphere. Huh.
You see the globe right there, right?
Yeah, because the UTM is not using a globe model. It's using a flat world. This is why MGRS and lines of latitude don't match up.
Because they don't match up because it's spread out on a globe.
And it says here, too, that the key advantage of the MGRS is it provides a small enough scale for perfect kilometer grid lines.
Yeah, none of these squares. The world is flat. None of these squares are actually like perfect squares. These are rounded out when you get close to them because it's contingent upon the Earth being round.
No, you can read right here. Flat. The Earth being flat.
When you look at these maps, none of them line up. And they're all oblong shaped because it's stretched. It's supposed to be stretched out in a globe. It's for the sake of your eyes being able to see everything. They will flatten it out, but in reality, it's actually like weirdly oblong.
Because they're flat. They're a perfectly square. And how they adjust for it, they tell you that you've got grid north, true north, and magnetic north, and you have to use your declination to adjust from one to the other.
Okay, but like the squares are not perfectly square. They aren't.
Well, you get direct contradiction to what it says right there, man.
It's not even saying that.
Like what do you read it say?
Where did you even get this fucking source from?
Right here, Intimate Threat Tactical Solutions, defense contractor. It's hard to find sources that are going to be completely honest because they really break it down. They don't have to tell people, oh, the Earth is round or the Earth is flat. Because what they do is they just basically use the grid system the way it works. When you need quick and effective, you don't bog yourself down in curve and rotation. You just use
if you're like a mortarman. If you're like a mortarman and like the fucking enemy is right there, like sure, but for these long range rockets, they absolutely are adjusting because they have the time to do that. But the longer the range, the more time you're gonna have to adjust for that shit. If you're a mortarman, the mortarman's probably not fucking adjusting for that, but it's also not flying in such distances that it requires an adjustment. M777 guys, they absolutely are adjusting. And I mean, if you're like off by 50 meters, it's like kind of whatever. But these rocket systems, they are simply just not firing until A, the system knows where it is on the globe, and B, we have the target identified up to 12 digits.
If you're off by 50 meters, it will guide itself in the rest of the way. It's a guided munition. You can be off by more than 50 meters.
But sure, if
it's got time to correct its flight, it will do so.
This is the difference between like the terrorist's house getting taken out and like the neighboring house getting taken out. That's what these type of rockets are used for.
Oh, should we look at that? You want to look at collateral damage and how much damage there is?
That's the point. That's what I'm trying to get out. We could
compare. We could do that.
But what I'm getting at is like we're using rockets that are so accurate now. We're able to put it straight through someone's window, only kill the people in that
Is this fired
room.
from a drone? Or was it fired from a ship?
Well, so we were
still don't know what you're talking about.
We were talking about the HIMAR system, but now I'm talking about like different rocket systems. A rocket system coming off of a Predator drone, like the Hellfire missiles, those are 100% required, like even more accurate. Like we're talking about centimeters accuracy, so that they can put it through someone's window and only kill the people in that room.
Bookings College. Obama or Biden can reduce civilian casualties. Huh? Why would they have to reduce civilian casualties? These weapons are so accurate. Maybe they're using the globe. Maybe that's why they keep killing so many civilians.
Well, that's why we need accuracy.
Well, you said these weapons are accurate down to 12 digits. But there's a record number of civilian casualties. This is contradictory.
That's not that has what fucking the point of the accuracy is to reduce collateral.
But you can't take it out though, right? There will always be collateral damage.
I argue that collateral is always decreasing. It's all like the trend has been constantly decreasing. Like deaths from combat, like operations, has been decreasing decade by decade. And that's thanks to the accuracy of the math which is contingent upon the Earth being round. It's like the Hellfire
round like what? Round like
a ball.
Like a ball. Okay, so not round then. Spherical.
Like we are not putting a Hellfire through someone's window without extreme accuracy. Like
we're not really doing that anyway, right? Is there a lot of collateral damage?
No, we just did that to the Al Qaeda leader not too long, maybe a year ago. We just took him out, and nobody else was pretty tits.
I don't know. Where did you see that at?
Here, I'll show you.
The guy who got taken out with like the knife rocket.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a Hellfire, and it just went straight through the fucking window. All it took out was him and the people
in
the room. Yeah, that's how accurate we're getting with that shit. That's why we need that 12 digit, if not higher, so that you're only taking.
I saw that.
Yeah,
watch that TV.
Al Qaeda leader Zawahiri, he was killed going through his like.
Through the window.
Well, here I don't have permissions to post, but I would.
This happened like a year or two ago.
Yeah. It just wouldn't have happened if we didn't.
They tracked his they tracked his routine every day, and they realized that every day he would spend a certain amount of time on his balcony in the morning or the evening, and then they just sent one of those like weird deploying knife Hellfires that like doesn't explode; it just chops someone up, so that it doesn't cause any collateral damage, and they just took him out like that.
What here? Right here is this the source you're talking about? Department of Defense, U.S. Defense.gov. Al Qaeda killed in Alman Zawahiri, one of the perpetrators of 9/11 attacks. They killed almost 3,000 people in New York and Pentagon.
Yes, and they killed him with the Hellfire, which also is the math on that is using lasers, and again, it's coordinating where it is on the Earth and where it isn't. Like we would not be able to put it through with this kind of accuracy if the math was wrong. Like if the math was wrong, they'd hit the house next door,
or not the balcony, right? If you're off by a meter, how far away would that be from the balcony?
Sure. Yeah, maybe they hit the fucking door and kill the wrong people. But my point is that this level of accuracy requires the math being correct.
Why don't they use that for 2-week escaped prisoners?
What do you mean? What are you referring to?
Because it's expensive as fuck.
Yeah. Like
these $1 million, like the knife one's probably like over $1 million, right?
Yeah, probably.
No, I like learning new things. I never heard about the Hellfire knife missile. I just had known the Hellfires as being have a shaped charge inside to be anti-tank.
But yeah, this is what
high explosive anti-tank round.
Well, this is like this is a
Yeah.
counterinsurgency like development.
Yeah.
It's like
And
it
this
was
is-
made so when you need to take out specific people and you have air superiority and you can just
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I'm reading the.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like you're not using an 8-digit on this. You're not even using a 10. You're probably not even using a 12. This is going to go like almost 14 digits. So they're absolutely sure it's hitting the right fucking place.
Well, I guess your case would be they're not using MGRS anymore. They're using a completely different system.
No, it's MGRS. It's definitely MGRS.
Then like what we know about it is also quite limited.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming that they don't want to reveal too much about.
So yeah.
The knife missile.
Yeah, can you send me a drawing for that thing? I want to examine it, see if it's real.
No, there isn't anything.
I think that's a made-up story.
I don't know what to tell you at that point, man.
I mean, it was reported. I'm pretty sure Al Qaeda confirmed.
Wow, this is pretty funny. What they called the operation? Over the Horizon.
Yes.
They know. They know. They know. They must know.
So here, yeah. So at 6:18 in local time, he was apparently the only casualty. 1 shot, 1 kill.
Yes. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, we're getting to the point where, like, we're just able to just snipe people like that. And it's like, if the math was wrong, it would be like, it would be embarrassingly, like,
who told you these stories?
What are you talking about?
Who told you these stories?
The news.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
The Department
of Defense.
Defense
told us this story when it broke the news about this happening, when the government released information about it, and when Al Qaeda confirmed that their guy died.
Yeah, so
I'm pretty sure they confirmed it at least. I don't know if they had like a press service.
A Hellfire missile is not a projectile flying around. It's got propulsion systems, and the missile systems and airplanes and that kind of stuff all flies based off a flat, non-rotating Earth.
No, not at all.
Yes. Here's a document from NASA talking about it. Here's the flight dynamics summary.
Yeah, these kinetic type missiles have been used for projectiles have been used for a long time. It's what the Abrams fires, a kinetic depleted uranium dart, and just by going so fast.
Those aren't guided.
No, they're not. Yeah,
this is
direct line of sight.
Like
so it was fired from a drone.
It's fired from a Reaper, which
drone,
which. If it's up in the fucking air, it's going to require a laser.
Dude, this reminds me of, there used to be a weapon that they called P3ch3ng that they was outlawed by the UN or the NATO. Not Geneva Convention.
Wasn't that just like a cluster munition, but with fucking knives instead of?
Yeah, like little bunch of razor blades. They showed a picture of the house. The whole side of the house is fucking destroyed. So I don't know what they're talking about. Like,
probably tore the balcony off.
Yeah,
it fucked up the balcony and like the window, but it didn't really destroy the. Didn't really destroy the building.
They got all you see from the photos is there's a kinetic force, that much force hitting the building would destroy the balcony and the surrounding area. But not a massive explosion that would start a fire, maybe burn the house down.
Well, that's the thing is this isn't even like an explosion, an exploding thing.
Yeah, it's a light damage to the safe house. They call it a Gensu knife ninja bomb for its reference in stealthy Japanese assassins during the Shogun era. an inert warhead that has heavy metal blades that kill targets.
Take out Putin then.
Yeah, this doesn't make. I know you just had troops in the open, Putin and Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, why come they don't use it for that? Just special TV missions.
The Ukrainians are currently using drones to take out leaders, like Russian military commanders. There's a colonel that was just taken out while walking his dog, like in his at his home.
Well, their drones are more like we strapped a RPG round to a drone and then flew it into with the
This is an Amazon drone.
Yeah, they use like Chinese drones with fucking RPG rounds strapped to them, and then they fly them into people and things.
Hey, check this out. So here, this is on the wing. It shows from the drone that it is laser guided from the ground into the target. So they don't need any grid location at all. It's targeting whatever the laser is pointing at.
They just need a sniper on the ground with the laser pointer.
That's it. No grid location, nothing. Just hey, Joe, you got the laser on Al-Zakari? Yep, I'm pointing it right at him. All right, he should be there for 15 minutes. Operation to go? Check. Operation over the horizon to go. Commander, do we have permission to arm? Permission to arm. Check. Commander, permission to fire. Hold 1. Fire.
How does the missile know where it is?
Follows the laser.
It doesn't
follows the laser.
How does it modify its position in relation to the laser, though?
It's following the laser.
I'm curious. I don't know. Okay. Do the Gimlers do the same thing?
Yeah, without
the
laser,
Attackums do the same thing?
Okay, go ahead.
No.
Do what?
Do Gimlers and Attackums do the same thing?
Yeah, I guess that's another topic. We're looking at this one.
Just going over the one that you mentioned that required satellites and people all over the world.
You're not.
Shoot knives at people.
A satellite. The commander's not going to fire this without images before and after. These images usually coming from satellites.
Oh, that was the second part. Yeah, images, satellite photos.
That's a battle damage assessment. You're not getting any kind of firing without before and after.
Why? Why can't you just use the guy on the ground who's using the laser? He can just radio in. Yep, it hit the balcony.
The laser's probably from a drone, not from a person on the ground.
That's the point of a forward observer. You know, like because they can't fucking see them, so they have to send it someone forward.
From playing video games, think that everything is just drones. People sit in closets. Right. Nobody has to do anything.
I've only ever played video games.
Kids these days, all they do is charge their phones, eat hot chip, and lie.
Yeah, it makes me mad these days. Kids are so undisciplined, not listening to their elders, not studying, and running around doing frivolous things. That's a quote of Socrates.
They're just working.
The Hellfire uses active radar homing on top of the laser.
Oh yeah, if someone tries to shoot the drone down and they ping it with another missile, it can counteract it will fire at that active radar. Like a self-defense.
No, like this is part of the targeting, like active radar homing. Once it's fired, it just uses radar to home in on the target.
And yeah, all you need is just one of these rocket motors to fail, and it'll go completely off course. This isn't using like globe Earth.
No, this is it is using active radar homing, which part of radar is that it is scanning a horizon, right? Like this is again like if the Earth is flat, it wouldn't work the same way.
What?
It would work exactly the same way.
You mean to tell me you need to be on a ball for radar to work?
It wouldn't work the same way.
So are you telling me that you need to be on a ball in order for radar that we use today to work?
it would not be adjusting the way it would if it was flat. It wouldn't hit the same
How does
target.
radar adjust?
That's weird. Are you just quoting other people? If you don't know the subject matter, there's no need of you introducing these ideas.
Cool.
Unless you want to bring the research up.
Well, you really can't because this stuff is all highly classified. So it's like talking in a way you're talking around the topic, like where here's something brand new. It reduces collateral damage, but doesn't. A year ago, it took out some guy. So are we standing down now? Because the article I read that it said they degraded Al Qaeda to no longer a global threat after this over the horizon mission was done. So can we get our freedoms back? Can I stop taking my shoes off at the airport? Can we stop, see something, say something? What is it? It's been 20 years, okay? Like you just passed our 22-year mark. Is it time to stand down? Have we defeated the enemy? Can we return back to a pre 9/11 sort of, like security level? We got to raise security to job security again. Just keep dumping more and more money into the defense budget because apparently that they wouldn't lie, to keep that defense budget spending money going.
How come that alien they released looks exactly like E.T. from the movie?
Because they're both fake.
I saw a funny image where it was like a birthday cake.
Who officially released pictures of aliens?
It's the fucking Mexican government is having a hearing. They've got these like quote unquote alien corpses. They revealed they look like ETs.
It's a con man that's done this shit before.
From the hit 1986 movie.
You guys don't believe in aliens now either?
No, I don't believe that those are aliens.
It's literally a con man that's done this shit in the past, like with the same aliens.
Oh my god, Globers!
Like, aren't they like cat carcasses that they just like modify?
It's a mixture of different animals. It's just a Franken corpse.
What are you gonna do when the Air Force announces they have aliens? Then
no one here is arguing that there aren't aliens.
As a con man. We're just showing that the ones shown by that one government in that thing are not real because they belong to a con man who's been proven wrong before.
Who has the real?
What are you going to do when the government says it's real and
we don't know if anybody has any real
they found in them are real? What are you going to do then?
We're not arguing that there aren't aliens. We're saying that the idiots in Mexico are idiots.
And when after the U.S. government says, "Yeah, those are the aliens that we have," then what are you going to say?
They haven't, so they're not. Why would we believe that they would say that?
When they say that, what are you going to say?
Why would they say that?
A prediction.
What?
So if the U.S. government lies to us, what will we say? Well, we'll say it's a lie if we know that it's a lie.
Huh. Interesting. You know when they're lying to you?
Not always, but if I do know that they're lying to me, then I'll make sure to call it out. I've been struggling to find a flat Earth model that can accurately depict all the land masses of the world and their proportions and distances relative to each other.
How are you going to verify them?
Well, I've personally traveled certain distances in different parts of the world because I happen to be well traveled.
Don't travel nowhere.
And I would like to find a flat Earth model that can accurately represent those distances in relation to each other.
How did you measure distances when you were on a commercial flight?
Well, for example, no, not a commercial flight. Like I drove places. Land masses are large, and
how did you measure distances when you did that?
How much air
well,
pressure
I went at a certain speed for a certain amount of time.
How much air pressure was in the tires?
I don't know.
Were you driving on perfectly flat roads that perfectly conform to the surface of the Earth?
No, but I can look at the distance. Like I can look at the amount it took me, and I can look at how the road curved, and I can the amount of pressure in the tires might affect it somewhat, but not in a way that would completely invalidate
that was
the distance.
ridiculous. Let's not talk about that. That was a silly comment someone made. So you're telling me that you followed the road that wasn't exactly straight, and then you used what, maps to figure out how far you went?
No, like I looked at I can retrace my path along those roads and account for the fact that there have been bends.
How did you know the distance? Did you use maps, or did you try to calculate how much fuel you used?
No, so you travel on a road with a car.
Yeah, I've done that.
You look at your speed throughout the time, and then you look at the time it took you to travel on that road, and then you can look at a map of that road later on and see where the bends were and account for those.
There's satellites that fly over Antarctica every day.
No, but they don't believe satellites are real, so you have to use.
Wait, you have done that on long trips, or you haven't? Because there's a lot of bends if you go like 2 hours. You know.
It depends where you are. Like in North America, there's straight roads for hundreds of kilometers.
I really don't get how
relatively straight, straight enough for it to not matter in the grand scheme of things.
Did you get the angle yourself or off the map?
Try looking at a map later. Yeah, you can look at pre-satellite maps.
Yeah, you don't have to believe anything anybody else here believes, but why make up this
You can catalog. You can no. I was talking about a hypothetical scenario.
Oh, okay.
Well, so
that's like a thing you could do yourself without any fancy tech.
Funny thing about that is like surveyor. So like funny thing about that is like back in the day when we were trying to create states, we used to have surveyors that just walk in straight lines, and so like Colorado, for example, it looks like a box, but it's actually pretty curved because like the Earth curves as they were walking forward, and that's just from surveyors.
Well, like even like you don't even have to use any sound. Like you can take a you can choose a road, take a pre-satellite era map of that road that was made for ground surveillance, and then you trace your path on that road. You can catalog even yourself the bends and see if they match up with the map, and then you can see the distance you traveled roughly. And if that distance traveled is compatible on a flat Earth model in both places, you do this once in Canada, you do this a second time in South Africa. See if you can develop a flat Earth model that can compensate for both, because I'm sure there are reasonably straight enough roads in both countries that mean that you can actually travel 200 to 300 kilometers without significant turns, and you would be able to get, like, you can do this in France as well. Like there's reasonably straight roads that only bend a little, and in the grand scheme of the Earth's size, even in a flat model, would not matter enough to change the outcome.
Well, that's
just take a big highway.
If you just like look at a map of the U.S. though, like that's like some of these lines they were meant to be straight, but they wound up being curved because that's just what happens when you walk across the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kansas to Utah.
Thing is, I'm positing this like hypothetical experiment because anybody who wants to prove the Earth is flat needs to provide a model of how how it could work with the distances we know exist on Earth and where they are.
Who said somebody's trying to prove anything?
Well, if you're trying to dispute the globe Earth, then
I'm trying to ask questions.
Yeah. Well, also, don't you want answers?
Well, yeah, don't you want answers?
So my question is, if the Earth is flat and not round, then what shape is it? How are the landforms laid out on the Earth? Because if there is no feasible way to arrange the Earth on a flat plane that corresponds to what we know about the dimensions of the Earth.
Okay, so how do you know the sizes and shapes of the continents?
Because before you could also do this yourself if you want, but before the time of satellites, people on ships would survey the shapes of coastlines. And over hundreds of years, we got a decent idea of what they were shaped like, which means that even after we got satellite imagery, it really roughly corresponded to what we already knew.
Okay.
Like this has been going on because they think that it's like fake imagery that's made up. That it's.
Well, I don't know who's they. I'm not part of they.
Well, people who dismiss satellite imagery.
Well, so if we have
it's either fake or it's done by planes.
No. My question was that we didn't have any other methods between sticks and satellites to figure out the curvature of the Earth. Like there was nothing in between.
What? No, we're not
There's
talking
got
about
to
the
be another
curvature.
method then that doesn't
No,
use
I'm not.
satellites, but
Okay,
is a little bit
you
more
can treat
advanced
me
than
as a
sticks and
neutral
shadows,
person.
right?
Like, no, I'm not making any
I'm
claims
not
about the
treating
Earth
anybody
being
like
round.
anything. I'm talking to the arguments.
Yeah. Okay, so treat my argument as such. I'm arguing not from a place of believing the Earth is round, but a place of curious about whether the Earth is flat. And if I want to accept the Earth is flat, I have to at least know that there are like feasible shapes for it, feasible layouts for it that would make sense and be possible given what we know about where places are on our planet. Okay.
Like if the Earth were flat, like like I wouldn't be able to fly from Argentina to New Zealand in the distance that, like, in the time that it would take. Like the time it would almost triple.
You wouldn't even need flights. You can just do this with driving distances on reasonably straight roads in South America and Canada. My point is that you cannot show me, if you are a flat earther, you cannot show me a single flat Earth layout with a continuous flat Earth layout that doesn't have like huge gashes through it that actually correctly places every landmass in relation to each other.
May I ask you a quick question? I just want one quick question from you.
Sure.
Okay, so this is not a trick. I just want to know what you know and think. If you were in California right now and you went directly south, would you get to South America?
There'd be a sea first because Baja California.
If you were in California and you went directly south as your compass could tell you which way is south, would you get to South America?
You would be in the Pacific.
I would hit the sea.
Would you get to South America eventually?
I don't remember exactly how far east South America is in relation to California.
Yeah,
I can check.
You would have to go southeast to get to South America.
If I had a boat that I could just get into and keep going south, then I could not get to South America.
You would wind up in Antarctica.
I want to go to Antarctica. I want to do some skiing.
You can.
Because from what I've had in these conversations before is that you can't talk about the planes because the plane rides don't exist apparently, even if they do, and Antarctica is off limits.
Can you stop strawmanning us, please?
Well, no, it's just like just from people on this thing. Okay, well, wait.
Stereotype us, please.
So can you go to all of South? Can you go to all of Antarctica? This is a true fact. You cannot go to all places in Antarctica. You can only go to certain parts as a tourist. And until recently, there were no flights that went directly from South Africa to Australia, which is what the claim usually is, or Argentina to Australia.
New Zealand,
yeah. But then there have been a few commercial flights, but it's still not a common route, right? Which is why I'm basing all of my arguments off of land things. Maybe, yeah. But this is why I'm basing all of my arguments off of land travel that you could do with a car. Because you could still travel far enough where the proportional distances would be noticeable, and where reasonably, at least on a disk Earth model, you would need to have about like 2 or 3 times the distance in South Africa that you would have in Canada. But there are other layouts, but they also fuck up the proportions in different ways. So that's why I'm curious, is there any flat Earth layout that is possible within what we know about the dimensions of land masses and distances between cities and stuff on the Earth today?
And so that's what I was kind of getting at, though. Like with the flights, I get that some of them don't think that flights exist, but like a flat Earth model would turn like a 12-hour flight from like Argentina to New Zealand into like almost 2 days.
Yes.
With the flying.
Well, that's my argument. It's just I'm making it like without the possibility of there being like, but you can't actually do that flight. So how do we know?
Yeah.
You know, because I had this conversation before.
Well, there's satellites that go horizontally over the Earth as well as like laterally, and that would be a sphere.
Well, like I'm just framing it in a way that can be done through like the observation of a private person without any like need for like internet. Like it's just like you take your car and you go to these places and you drive.
Okay, so it's clear
from
that
A
you
to
guys
B,
think that a
exactly.
globe is necessary for the Earth to be navigated as it is. So, can you go ahead and show us the curvature of that globe?
I don't say that there's a globe. I'm just asking if there's a flat Earth model that can be correctly.
Yeah, but we're not here
shown.
actually claiming a model. We're here falsifying the claimed model of the globe.
Okay, so if you falsify the globe successfully, right, then you must also have a viable model for a flat Earth.
Nope. All we have to do is falsify that model directly. We don't have to do anything else.
So what happens?
So what happens if we check the surface for curvature, find out if there is any or not? If
Well,
there's not,
you can just check.
it cannot be a globe.
Because I
Even
don't, I
even a
can't directly
glober can
observe.
falsify. Do you understand that even a glober can falsify the globe, quote unquote, model?
Yeah, it's like I've sort
right,
of
they can
I'm
falsify
not
part of the
too
model.
educated in this part of the discussion, but like, isn't it that you guys will like show me how with some
So if a
lasers you can
glober
see
points
further
out a
than
fault,
you should see in like a certain globe model, and then you'll send
so
me
if
a
a
bunch
glober
of
points out an
observations.
inconsistency in your quote unquote model, right? Are they then required to replace that part of the model or offer an alternative?
You see, my issue is usually
No,
that
they
The answer is,
every
of
time
course not. Hold on, before you breeze past that, the answer is obviously, of course not. Go ahead.
My issue is that every time I've been offered observations that disprove the globe model, they've been done in sort of like half-assed experiments with very little controlled environments and that don't
Give an
take into
example.
account certain key points. Well, like the lasers, like they're usually done by like, well, at least the ones I've seen. I'm sure there's probably examples. I'm not an expert on lasers, but if I were to take a scientific experiment where I wanted to make sure my data was replicable, I would do it in a controlled environment, but of course you can't really do that with outdoor lasers. So usually what you see is a laser is used to look over the horizon, and you can see there's a Brighton one, I think, that's famous, maybe.
Okay.
And what I'd like to see is just this being replicable and replicated several times.
It is
over.
replicable. Nobody
Has it
who
been
uses
replicated?
lasers measures. Yeah, nobody who uses lasers measures any curvature of the
Has
Earth.
the
If I'm
has
wrong,
the
if I'm wrong,
has
hold on. It's replicable in that nobody who uses lasers actually measures any curvature of the Earth. If I'm wrong, just post me anybody who has measured it with lasers.
If it's replicable, then it should have been replicated, right?
It is.
Brighton
There's no
thing
laser
been
test
done
that
several
measures any
times?
curvature of the Earth. Every time it's replicated.
No, well, there's a bunch of laser tests in different places at different times in different weathers with different environments and humidities and things like that. Like we know that the atmosphere bends light, so the degree to which it's bent in a certain day is variable. And so if for example you see that you can see over the horizon on one day in Brighton, then you should be able to see other days that it's also still possible regardless of the weather, because it is always flat. So if there are days where you cannot see a laser over the horizon in Brighton, then that shows that maybe there's something else to it, and maybe that the one-time observation wasn't necessarily a conclusive result.
Is there any
light
conclusive
bends.
evidence of curvature or lasers bending around it?
We know that lasers can bend, but we've not, like, most people don't like test the globe Earth these days because it's consensus, and so I don't think there's any high level like reputed experiments showing like trying to shine a laser beam.
Yeah, sure, but the most recent highly reputable laser experiment was done by the U.S. military.
And is it public data?
Yeah. In
And
fact,
do they show it
wrote
being
his
bent with the same
thesis.
lasers that people use?
Dude,
I'm asking.
I clearly interjected to say something I wanted to say, not listen to you talk.
Okay, then say it. But I'm asking you a question about what you're saying. But sure, go ahead and say.
No, I have to wait 3 seconds at least.
I mean, I'm on the Lockheed Martin website right now, and I'm seeing how they're talking about how they have to address a challenge which comes from the environment. Atmospheric conditions can bend a laser beam like a prism and keep it from reaching the target. They have to adjust for the lasers bending in their targeting. I don't know what you were about to cite, but
the amount it bends can depend on the laser type that's being used, the company that manufactured. Like there's different strengths, I would guess.
And it's being bent by the environment, but that's also because like the Earth's rotation affects that.
What?
Like atmospherics will 100% affect that.
I mean, like, you can observe us for yourself. Like, I used to live in Chicago. Sometimes you could see the other side of Lake Michigan. Sometimes you couldn't.
Right, which means
light bends.
Yeah.
Right. So the globe paradigm, in light of all the supersedery observations beyond globe geometry, that you shouldn't be able to see things based on the claim that the globe curvature is what obstructs things in the distance, is superseded constantly. So the ad hoc excuse is, well, light bends. And then people say, okay, well, what about this and this? And then the excuse after that is, well, do you deny light bends? But it's not just
what about this and this is then?
It's not just about light bends in general. It has to be quantified properly, and not just quantified mathematically.
Sure,
so
but this... Go ahead, sorry.
The laser experiment that I was going to talk about, which all flat earthers and Glovers should, in my opinion, be aware of. Now, whether you take one conclusion out of it or not, what they did was they fired a tri-band laser on a gimbal, right? So the lasers are all accurately, targeting correspondingly, right? From one Hawaiian island to another Hawaiian island, 120 kilometers. And they aimed it at if I want to say, a 4-meter telescope. So they took one of the telescopes at the observatories and turned it horizontally or whatever to receive the laser. The reason being is because different wavelengths refract at different rates, right? And they want to get the most accurate targeting laser they can get, right? So one guy was going to write a thesis paper on what happened. He got the results. He started doing his thesis paper, and he realized that the results don't match any of the globe models of refraction that are already exist. He had to create essentially his own attempt at making a new model. So I think, if I remember correctly, the spread on the lasers should have not. If the global refractive model is correct, then the lasers shouldn't have all hit the target, right? Only one of them should. Because of the differential in the curve.
It depends how much like things are in the way of those lasers for them to refract through on a given day, right?
Exactly. This was taken at the same day with all 3 lasers firing through the same air. Okay, so the three lasers are going to take different paths based on their refractability on their wavelength. Right? Yes or no?
Of that given day. So on that day, they should have ended up in a certain place, but they didn't. And was that place predicted?
Anyway, so I'll bring the conclusion.
The Earth's flat for 100
that's
miles.
Great, Robin. That's great.
So 76 kilometers doesn't matter.
Oh yeah,
the islands were 76 kilometers.
The Earth is flat for 100 miles, and it spontaneously starts curving after that. Anyway, just let me finish the conclusion of this, dudes. You guys can go look this up yourselves. We don't need asides. Okay, so the conclusion is that the lasers should not have hit together, but they did.
Okay.
And so he wrote up a thesis all about it, which anybody can look at and figure out what he meant. Now, you can take that as you will and scrutinize it as you will. So that's the conclusion.
Was this ever replicated?
I don't know if they replicated it multiple times. This was done by
because these findings usually, right? If such ground-shattering findings come to, people try to replicate them. So I'd expect that to happen.
If you're worried about that, can you show a curvature measurement that's been done even once, let alone replicated?
See, I'm not trying to prove anything here. I'm just trying to hear the arguments for why the Earth is flat.
Well, I think you just heard one from yourself.
Well, anyway,
I have a Lockheed Martin article that talks about how they have to adjust for atmospheric conditions bending the laser. Like our weapon systems, because the environment, which is affected by the Earth being globe, affects our weapon systems.
Okay, so read it out and then explain the implications. A sentence that simply says the Earth's a globe, it affects us. I mean, it's really not meaningful.
I mean, that's just Lockheed Martin itself telling us that they do have to adjust for it.
Whatever that means. That's like your girlfriend saying, I didn't cheat on you. I mean, I guess it's authoritative. She could even write it down on a piece of paper.
I mean, they're making a claim. Any replicable measurements?
Fair enough. I'm rumpusing you before you get to your conclusions. By all means, go ahead.
I mean, if she said she didn't do it, she didn't do it.
I know, but I was very staunch about these guys letting me finish my conclusion, so he should be able to bring his point to a conclusion. All right, was there more to the point, or was it just a claim? Go ahead.
I was just saying Lockheed Martin says it has to.
All right, whatever that means.
The thing is, like, yeah, just to go back to the earlier point, is just like for me to be convinced that the Earth is flat, I need to be able to see any feasible scenario in which all the distances that we know are true between places in the world would be laid out in a possible way in a flat Earth model, but I've never seen a single one that has been, and I don't believe that any single one is possible. So that's why I'm unconvinced, because, like, sure, you can find inconsistencies with the globe Earth, sure.
Have
the
you
merits
extended
of
the globe
exams.
the same standards?
Yes.
Have you extended? Yeah.
The distances on the globe Earth, the distances, the distance argument that I was making earlier, is like a globe Earth projection of the land masses and the distances on Earth is like possible. Like, it doesn't distort the distances we know are true, whereas a flat Earth model, whatever the shape of the flat Earth, is always going to distort them to a degree.
Wait, so you're saying the distances on a globe Earth projection, so a flat map?
No,
is correct.
No, not a flat map, because on any globe Earth projection on a map, like on a flat map, they'll be distorted, right? But if you apply the same distances to a globe, like an actual globe, and you put them on a globe, then they are compatible.
Okay,
and the
that's
argument that I'm
great.
making is like just the distances that we know are true because people like you and me have traveled them ourselves.
Well, give us some examples, brother.
Okay, so you take Paris, Berlin, which is roughly 1,000 kilometers, and you take Bloemfontein, Cape Town, South Africa, which is also roughly 900 to 1,000 kilometers. If I'm correct, I'm not sure. In the conventional flat Earth model that I've seen, which is a flat disk, it requires that South Africa and the entire southern hemisphere of the Earth is stretched out in terms of distances compared to the northern hemisphere, because the disk needs to wrap around, right? And this would mean that the distance of a 900 kilometers Paris-Berlin would not be possible between Bloemfontein and Cape Town, given where we know they are in relation to each other in South Africa.
So they're on separate continents, right?
Yeah, but they're connected.
Okay.
Both of these continents, Africa and
what are you trying to show me?
Eurasia are connected, all except by like a canal that we dug ourselves.
Right. So you're saying that you drove those distances or got accurate measurements.
You could drive straight. Yeah. You could drive in between these two places. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. But you notice how I said, so you got this information, and then you responded with, you could.
No, I'm saying you could drive in between, like from Berlin to Bloemfontein if you wanted to, just to say like they're all connected land masses.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, if they're connected, they're connected.
Yeah.
If you can leave your house and arrive in a car at the other place, then they're connected.
Yeah, that's what I was saying for the you could, because I haven't driven from Berlin to Bloemfontein, because that would take days.
Fair. Right. So you need to chart that out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Accurately, and then follow the charted path accurately. Have a means to demonstrate your location from where you left to where you arrived.
Yeah, you could do that with landmarks. I'm saying that like people have like I haven't personally done. I've done Paris, Berlin. I haven't done Bloemfontein, Cape Town, but I have taken I've done various U.S. road trips where I've gone distances that also, but they're at the same latitude as Europe, roughly.
You're talking about straight.
I'm
you're talking about direct,
roughly straight lines.
As the crow flies. Right.
No.
If you drive,
roughly straight roads.
Drive.
There are roughly straight highways.
So no bends, no hills.
Yeah.
Well, there are
elevation.
hills, but you can take them into account, and you can remove them from the equation by.
Well, just show us your work then. Show us your work from the time you did that.
No, I'm not saying that I've personally cataloged and done this experiment on flat Earth. I've only been exposed to flat Earth for a year and a half. But I'm just saying that you could do these things yourself.
Done it on Globers either.
Well, no, I know, because I haven't been fucking aware of this being a thing that people believe in for that long.
Sure, no problem.
And
no
so
problem.
I'd be glad given the opportunity to do this, right? But I'm also pointing it out as a test at you, if you're an honest person who seriously believes in testing these theories, you are completely capable of also doing these tests yourself.
Right, but
you can do this with your own direct observation. You don't need some fancy kit. You just need a car.
That's fine, but simultaneously, if it's the case that the Earth is a globe of a certain size, then it must have a certain curvature. And since it's covered in 70% water, and the water must equivalate to the forces present on it, right? That means it must be curving to adhere to that curvature. If you can go out to the contiguous body of water, right, and measure it to be flat, then you can just follow that logic that the rest of it's flat, and ipso facto, you've debunked the entire globe paradigm in totality. Now, it would then be the case logically that the
Yes, sorry. You cut out. Am I the only one who doesn't hear him?
Yeah, he said you can't
be the
change
case
the
logically, and then you cut out. Yeah.
Ah, man, coopity doopity.
We can hear you now.
I don't know, because I said logically at least 3 times.
Yeah, you can't.
Anyway,
change
the logical contingency of a necessity for a globe is continuous curvature. In order for it to fold back in on itself and become the object in question, right? So if you disprove the curvature over the water, which is 70% of the territory of the surface that's known, then you disprove that it's a globe. And then anything about
with
mass
my eyes,
secondary.
with my eyes, just by looking at it.
Oh, you go out.
Because it's also entirely possible that me, as a 6-foot human, looking from a beach towards the water, doesn't notice the curvature due to the fact that the Earth is very big. And so if I look out and I don't realize that the Earth is, if there is a curvature, my eyes aren't the only way I can see if there is a curvature or not.
That's
why are we thinking there is?
Yeah, who told you that?
Oh well, no, it's if there is a curvature or not, right?
Yeah.
Why
is that a question?
Why
is that a question?
Because there is not a single projection of a flat Earth that can take into account the distances we know are true between places on the planet.
What are you talking about? You already claimed one.
What? No,
you said the globe. You said the globe projection does that. That's projected from the flat Earth.
I just said not a single flat Earth projection.
All that flat horizontal water at rest that you see outside. Your globe that you're talking about is a projection of that.
You have to stretch out the land masses too.
If it does account for distances correctly, like you said it does, then you got what you asked for.
You have to stretch out the land masses too for it to work.
I got to ask a question to the panel out of curiosity. If you remember Antonio Subratz, if you haven't been in the flat Earth long, you won't know this. Antonio Subratz back in the day, he did a map, and I can't remember if he did it based on flights or he did it based on the path of the sun and the ecliptic. But either way, I could probably find the map that he made.
I remember that. I probably have the map as well somewhere. He basically looked for any anomalies in shipping lanes and flight times and things like that, and even found anomalies in the distance of train tracks.
Yeah. Another thing he also did is take the charted distances, and he just kept buying globes. And measuring them on the globes that he had, and he did this on video, and he kept getting the wrong answers. So
because for me, wherever I've ever been, the distance that it said was the distance that it took me.
Where we were the same distance from.
Oh, so okay, like
the map makers.
If I have a car, right, and I drive with it, I can see on the speedometer how fast I'm going, and I can see how much time it will take me to get somewhere. And if, for example, a sign on the road or a map says there's X amount of kilometers in between you and in point A and the point B you're trying to get to, you can drive that over a set amount of time. You can see how long it took you and what distance you should have traveled given your time spent in your speed, and then you can compare that to what the map said, right? And if you can do this over long enough distances that are reasonably straight in two very different places of the Earth on the northern and southern hemispheres, then it should mean that at the very least a flat Earth would need to have those two places non-distorted in relation to each other and within themselves.
Are we talking about a navigational map or just a world projection?
No, just a navigational map, like just a kilometer thing. Like it's just if you take two places that are very far away from each other on a north to south axis on the planet, right? So Australia versus Japan, or Japan's a bit small. Australia versus Alaska, Australia, Wyoming, something like that. Like two places that are sort of diametrically opposed from each other.
They're coming from local.
It doesn't matter.
Surveying.
It doesn't matter. Because then you need to be able to put these places in relation to each other on a global map. And if you're trying to do this with a flat map, like an actual flat map where you don't acknowledge any distortions because everything's supposed to look the way it actually does.
Those local navigational maps are flat maps.
Well, they're flat to like the naked eye, but and also for printing reasons, but they're not meant to be extremely 100% precise. They're not scientific maps.
If the Earth is flat, why does radar horizon exist?
Doesn't exist. We can see well past where it's claimed to be.
It doesn't exist?
A geometric radar horizon, we can see much further than where that's claimed to be.
You literally cannot. That's because the Earth's curve is in the way.
I literally can. I can just post the same picture for the 80th time and the third day in a row.
You can just refute this with light bends. Radar signals don't really, right?
Well, that's the whole. That's like how we snuck into Pakistan, because our fucking helicopters flew below the curvature of the Earth underneath the Paki's radar detection systems.
Because you could feasibly see further than the radar horizon if the light is refracting in a certain way, right? Yeah. Or if you're high enough up as well. I don't know.
Way
but
again,
that's not. I don't know anything about fucking radars, so I'm not gonna.
Well, we don't see any curvature or globe geometry at all outside.
No,
none.
That is the whole point of forward observers, is that our radar technology cannot go past the fucking Earth's curve.
What curve? Who measured that?
Well, we wouldn't
yeah,
need
except it
port
depends on the
observers.
frequency, doesn't it? It depends on the frequency.
Your frequency isn't. It's shooting past the Earth. That it's not a frequency issue.
Yes, it is. Long wave. Long wave goes over the curvature.
Cool, but it's like that. It's still affecting aircraft detection systems, like that. I don't know what else to say for that. That's the whole reason that we have to send aircraft up in the air for warships, because our radar systems and our laser systems are not seeing past the curvature of the Earth. Like you can't.
It also depends on power.
That's not the case, by the way, because I remember we had a whole discussion about this, because apparently radar has like a dead zone where it can detect near and it can detect further, but it can't detect in the middle, and that's frequency based and got nothing to do with curvature at all.
That's not how the military treats it. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, unfortunately, we actually had an entire debate about this, and the Globers admitted that this was true. So I mean, maybe you should get your story straight with them.
No, the military actively adjusts for this. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay,
you can be in denial that it doesn't exist, but like this institution that like kills people with deadly accuracy, they're not getting it wrong.
Okay, brother. That's called appeal to pragmatism fallacy.
Cool. I don't appeal to these nuts. Like, but
can we see the? Go ahead.
Yes. How about you appeal to your citation and just provide it?
I cannot. I don't have permissions for the 7th time to like post anything.
Why not?
I don't know.
Dang, brother.
Just Google Radar Horizon.
Let me ask this question to the panel. They may know. Does this place have a standard rank up automatic system where you have to type so long and then you start to rank up before you get perms?
I think so, but we can skip him ahead of that process. Then he's got no excuse.
You can Google it. It's like the first thing that pops up if you type in Radar Horizon.
Well, yeah, you could Google and get a bunch of claims. Sure, I agree with that.
So, I mean, it has everything right there for you on the wiki page. Radar Horizon.
Oh, yeah, just provide
a bunch of claims. Sure.
Cool.
Provide any citation that you want us to look
at.
So
back in the day, like I just got to speak to everyone here. So back in the day, not too long ago, Mark Sargent routinely has field experts. So like an expert in valves and seals, an expert in long-range gunnery, an expert in dogfighting, all these dudes. So he had the one on there was from the Air Force, and he explained how the radar angles work on the planes and how you can engage targets at certain ranges and how these cones work. I can't remember exactly the conclusions he made, but obviously from the way they were presenting it, it was a globe debunk. So if anybody's interested in that, they should check out Mark Sargent's channel. Okay, there's nothing. I'm just telling you where to check this out if you want to hear this argument in more in depth.
What exists is something called over the horizon radar.
Okay, dude, I didn't yield, so you could say that. I'm finishing my point. All right, so go over there, look up Mark Sargent, look up his interviews with experts, and he has one on there that talks about this. Very interesting, whether you're globe earther or flat earther. All right, go ahead.
Well, yeah, there's over the horizon radar, and what that does is it's an adjustment for the shadow. It basically you're taking radar and you're bouncing shit off of a satellite up in space, and then you can see into the shadow. But that still requires like
what the heck, dude?
That's not the globe excuse. You need to get your globe excuse right. They say that it bounces off the ionosphere, not off the satellite.
Like the fucking old ones will bounce off the ionosphere, but now we're using satellites to use it.
So now you're just absorbing it
after so that's
we can get it through the ionosphere now.
Sure. I mean, that's called synthetic aperture radar, and basically you're just firing some shit off of like the ground up into the satellite, and then it's taking it and bouncing it back down on the other side of the Earth. The old shit will be using like the ionosphere.
Hey, I said back in the day, right? I'd like to say back in the day we would have just said you're going to need half of that.
Dude, how in the world are you from a fixed point going to get the angle of deflection so you can find a target just any random time? I'm just going to bounce it up in the air. at a particular satellite, which is not even like less than 20 meters wide.
That's why we have hundreds of them. In case you missed the one, you got the next one coming in 15 minutes overview.
So let me get this right. Your original argument was predicated upon the idea that there's a radar horizon that you can't go past, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And now you're saying that there's hundreds of satellites in the ionosphere. So why is there a dead zone at all?
What? Because it's the dead zone is no. So that's like older weapon systems, right? That's how we snuck into Pakistan with their helicopters. Is that their older weapon systems were not able to adjust for that dead zone. So we were able to send SEAL team by flying low to the earth, and we were hiding in the dead zone. But
why
is
is there a dead zone at all?
Because the earth curves.
But
like
you
if you
just
fire
said of hundreds of satellites and the ionosphere.
Well, that's no. So that what we have now is like modern shit is over the horizon radar, and so that adjusts for the radar horizon, and so like you're now able to see over it. But that's our modern stuff, and that uses satellites.
But the ionosphere wasn't there the whole time.
So you can use the ionosphere, but that's older shit. We're using satellites now, and it's just it's a matter of accuracy.
I'm confused. Is there a radar horizon now, or isn't there? I mean, you seem to flip-flop.
There's always been a radar horizon, but that's for older weapon systems.
Oh, but there isn't one now.
No, what are you
but they
talking
can
about?
just overcome it using other means.
Yeah.
I feel like you don't know what your argument is, so I'm going to.
Cool.
What?
I think you're just a dumbass, man.
I think I agree with you. I think he's a dumbass.
Yeah.
You guys think I'm a dumbass, do you?
Yeah. I mean, that's 3 people now. I don't know ratio.
Consensus.
It's appeal to consensus.
Appeal these nuts.
Appeal these nuts.
Friend, I got a question. Hey, friend, I got a question. I got a question for you, and you don't need to answer it. It's just for information purposes for Ops Chat. So apparently, I've been told that certain accounts are flagged for statuses, and that's why they're not allowed to enter certain rooms and chat, etc. One being if you're categorized as a minor. So if you're a minor, you won't be able to access all the chats. So that's why take that as FYI.
I don't know how to get rid of that. I think it's a glitch that the server has because I've talked about this before. I'm not a minor. I don't think I even sound like one, but I don't know how to get rid of it.
But it might be at your Discord, your main Discord platform settings. Like when you first signed up, you put in a fake birthday. Maybe you got to fix that.
Or an admin labeled him as a minor, and he's got a message admin, and someone could be trolling him.
True.
Yeah, there's all kinds of reasons, but it does seem that you just need to ask some higher up status people in the server for help.
I mean, it's really not that big a deal. Like I could just tell y'all to Google it, or I could read the shit myself. But it's easily accessible.
Well, you could also, you could also. Everybody here is happy if you DM them to put it forward for you if they can. Like if they're not driving or something, do it for you.
Sure, but I mean, this isn't it literally just Google radar horizon and over the horizon radar, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's all good.
Yeah,
I'd rather have the person.
Huh?
Yeah, fair, but if somebody wants to hinge their entire argument on it and actually make it pointed, I do understand how people, they don't want to do that sometimes, but if you really want to, you need to have it cited, circled, highlighted, page numbered, all of that stuff. Argument sites.
Yeah, I mean, just Google it, bro, isn't really an argument for anything. I think also you've probably been labeled as a minor because you think that appeal to these nuts and you're a dumbass are arguments when they're not. I would really hope that you're level higher than that in this room.
I think you're just bad. You like molding, brother.
Yeah, I mean, calling me mad, that's kind of the same as calling me a dumbass, isn't it? Like, I feel like you can do better.
What are you, Socrates? Shut up.
Yeah, dude, and now you're just, again, you're just appealing to ridicule.
You're still.
Can you not just...
Do you have the whole thing? Do you have the whole chart memorized or something?
Dude, you're just wasting everyone's time at this point.
I think we were continuing, and then you focus on me calling you a retard for whatever weird reason.
Well, but normally when someone insults someone, they just get muted. So I mean, you're going to get muted if you carry on.
Most adults kind of just let that shit like slide right off them, especially on Discord.
Nah, most adults don't do it in the first place. Most adults don't.
Oh, stop being a bitch.
Yeah, I'm going to come and mute all of you guys.
You're a bitch. He's a bitch. He's a bitch.
And I want to, man, quit yelling. I want to make it a actually funny joke instead of just saying a bitch, dude. That's not funny anymore.
Yo.
I was gonna play off of Socrates and say I'm not Socrates, I'm Socrates. And you say Socrates, and I'm like, yeah, Socrates nuts.
What is your profession?
See, old friend, I brought more soldiers than you did.